Hi 6 Red. This little video is to help you through when you come to making your cams for your automata. I have just a piece of cardboard, scrap, and I'm going to make some cams. Now, before you make your cams, you need to decide how big you want your part of your automata to rise. For example, if you want yours to rise 2 centimeters, the difference between the top part of your cam and the bottom of your cam needs to be 2 centimeters. So if I take my ruler and my compass and I want to make a cam about this big to fit into my box, I need to come up with a diameter of 3 centimeters. So I get my ruler, organize that, that's a good size. Make sure you pick a part of your cardboard that it will fit. Draw your circle. Now, if I was to place my axle right in the center of this circle, my circle is going to spin, but there's not going to be any up and down movement. Right now, that has 3 on that side and 3 on that side. There is a difference of 0. If I bring it down 1 centimeter, approximately, we're going to have 2 centimeters here and 4 up there, which will be a difference of 2 centimeters. So right there, it'll raise by 2 centimeters. I think that's pretty good. The object that I'm thinking about raising, 2 centimeters, is quite good. So go up here, about 2 centimeters. There's my dot. Got 1.5 centimeters, and then on this side we have 4 centimeters. So it's going to raise just over 2 centimeters. I'm happy with that circle size. This cardboard is quite thin, so I'm going to make another circle over in this spot so that I can glue them together and make my cam stronger. And right here, I've got 2 circles, and I'm going to cut them out. It's best to cut very close to your circle first and get it out of the main piece of cardboard, because the main piece of cardboard could be too difficult to navigate. I've got them. This could still be used for later. I have my 2 circles here. I'll cut them out. Now, your cutting doesn't need to be perfect, but as close to the lines and as smooth as possible is the way to go. Because any little edge that's not sanded out might catch on your push rod later. First half. Concentrating very hard, I'm not a great cutter. There's my 2 cams. Now, if it turns out later that these are too big, you can use these same pieces to draw a smaller circle from that same point around here, and then you can cut them out again, and that way you don't need more paper or cardboard. So, okay, just went to get my glue stick. The shiny side doesn't glue too well, so I might actually do it in reverse and have it like that. Don't need to put as much on this one. Now, depending on your cutting style, you find a bit where it goes quite well. Then we have our thicker cam. As I said, we can sand the edges to make it spin a little bit better, but that should be okay. I might trim this little bit off here. There we go. So this is our cam. Now we need to make sure that our dot is going in the right spot, so when we put our hole through it on our axle, it will sit properly. If we put it in the middle, there'll be no difference, maybe just a couple of little bumps. I want my cam to rise by 2 centimeters, so I need to make sure the difference between above my hole is more than 2 centimeters or 2 centimeters greater than the distance below. So get my pencil here. All up, it's about 6, so that's good. If I put the hole towards the center about there, that's 2 centimeters down, which leaves 4 centimeters, or 3.5, so I might have to go 1.5 centimeters for that. That's why you don't press too hard. A little hole there, that's fine. go 1.5 centimeters. And then I'll measure above, that's going to be 4. So that's just over 2. You can use this. It's probably a better idea if you use a skewer, but for the sake of showing, it's quite thick and strong now, so check the other side. Now you have your axle, we made them in class. This pencil is representing that axle. When it's pinned, it's going to spin like this, and you can see at that point it's the lowest, and then at that point it's the highest. So that's going to give us a nice up and down movement. So this is good for the people who are doing things like the sun rising or some things going up and down at a steady rate. If you're different and you want something to go up and then drop suddenly, you'll need a snail drop cam, and we'll make that in a second. Okay, here are a couple of cams that I cut out before. I actually made a mistake earlier. Here's my one that I've made that's good to go. If you want your thing to rise and fall at the same height, you make it the same size circle. If you need to make a snail drop cam, we actually can take a disc like this and we can make a smaller circle on the inside. If your drop or rising wants to be 2 centimeters, we need to make sure in our snail drop cam that our drop, which we'll draw in a minute, is 2 centimeters. So we can, 2 centimeters is a fair drop. Let's see how we can go. We'll get one that is about through the center here. We'll go, look, we'll keep it 1.5 like before. There's my dot there. We need, I'm going to do it very light as well. We need to do, that's where our sort of drop's going to happen, okay? And then we're going to work on a circle around here. So if that's the case, we need to make the top of our circle till the center for our smaller circle here. So we do our smaller circle. This one's not exactly in the center, but we'll see how we go. That circle, the diameter, for example, is just 1.5 as well. So our drop's by 1.5 and our diameter is 1.5. That also matches because we have a 3. It's half of what ours was before, which was 3. Our radius, sorry. So we've kind of got a shape here. We've got a circle here. The shape that we want needs to be a bit of a shell shape. So we start going around here, and between somewhere around here all the way to there is where we extend our circle. We've got a little circle. You can even go with one like this. Maybe I should just ignore that and do a circle in the center. Like that. It's more or less the same. Just means on this one, the drop, or our snail drop, is going to be 1.5 centimeters. So this one's a bit better because it's got the nice positioning in the center. This is a little bit low, but it should still work. Either or, these are going together, so we have to stick to one. We'll stick to this one because it doesn't have a big hole in it. So our drop's going to be about there. We'll press medium to hard to get to here. That's going to be part of our cutting. And between here all the way around there, we need to slowly extend. So I'm going to stray away gently from my circle. If you want it to rise pretty quickly, you can stray away a bit faster. If you do anything too pronounced, it might get stuck. We're going to just keep going up like this, and getting closer and closer to that edge, and then by the time I finish, I want to finish right up there. So I'm going to shade in the bit that's actually going to be our snail drop cam so that we can look. So now this looks like a bit of a snail shell. There is one issue that I have with mine, and that is this bit here. If our cam or our push rod drops down here, it may get stuck. So what we need to do is just make sure that from here to there is very angled downwards. So add a bit of a triangle type shape in here, and we'll do it like that. So I've lost a little bit of height, but at least it's going to fall and it's not going to get stuck. Now, your drawing can be anything, but this one is really important the way you cut it. I'm being a little bit more careful with this one. It's good to do that one first. Now, remember I've got my new section. I'm going to cut down there gently. I'm going to come back to that one because I don't want to cut too deep, otherwise my push rod will get stuck. Okay, so there is my snail drop cam. Now, depending on the height that you want it to go, you can work out where your axle is going to go as well. It's best to aim for around the center of your first circle, because that's going to be the nice gentle rise, and then it will build from there. So we'll still put it there. But now we've got to work out how it's going to go here. It's best to line it up, perhaps with the line there, and trace around it for this one. The reason you don't trace around for a regular cam is because of the jagged cutting edges, whereas this one, we really need to get this bit right. So I'll shade this one in as well. Cut around. So rather than cutting too far, I might tear it a little bit because it's not perfect there. Could use maybe a Stanley knife just to trim it a little bit better, because I really don't want my push rod to get stuck there. Get our glue. Put it together. There you have cam. And again, you should use a skewer or a drill. Or even this is a good way to start the hole. Make it through almost. I'll see if my pencil can get the rest of the way through. This one's quite strong. Don't stab yourself in the other end. Okay. That's why you need to use a skewer, because I've damaged the cam a bit. But imagine this is the axle. There's our snail drop. It spins around this way. And when it gets to there, it drops. And this is a nice smooth entrance so that it can keep going back that way. Builds up and then drops. So yes, that's the two types of cams you'll probably make.